Hello. Well, today I have some good news and some bad news. And I suppose that's going to make a sandwich with a little bit of irony news in the middle of it. So let's see. Let's start with the good news. You see, I don't like being Mrs. Angry all the time, and the world is not going to hell in a handbasket, not quite yet. We can see things going wrong, but that's the point, isn't it? We can speak about them. Well, more or less. We know there are chokes on the Cassandras, but then there always have been. That's where the name Cassandra comes from, in history. Cassandra, by the way, was a daughter of King Priam of Troy. And she kept prophesying that Troy was going to be in for some serious trouble and nobody would believe her. This was because of a curse of the gods. She asked the gods for the gift of prophecy, and being mean and nasty as they were, they gave her the gift of prophecy, but with the proviso that nobody would ever believe her. And so she went around screaming, doom, doom, and nobody believed her. So this is not new. And we have to remember this when there are people like Jordan Peterson or Christopher Hitchens telling everybody that we've got to watch out for things. There is a human psychological block against actually listening. The difference we have here is that Cassandra was one person and the whole court, and therefore the populace were against her. They didn't believe her. But in this society, which has advanced, there are more people, from little fish like me to, great big fish like Jordan Peterson, who can change people's minds. What we have to do is keep plugging away. We must not give up. And we must not give up for this reason. Here is a picture of Jupiter. And now I'd love to be able to play Also sprach Zarathustra. I'm not entirely sure whether that won't get me a copyright strike on something. I'll see if I can find something I can use. But if it's a silent picture of Jupiter, then you'll know I didn't find anything. All right, but look at that picture, and it's from the James Webb telescope. That is, now it's a false colour thing, but what the James Webb is showing are the polar storms, something we could never see before. And this is what our civilization is capable of. And it's what we have to remember when we think, is this a civilization worth hanging on to? Yes, there are people like Brian Stelter, who you might think is a good example of a reason to just wind the whole project up. He's lost his job, hasn't he? Right, and let's carry on. Who else do we... Oh, Fauci. Yeah, he's lost his job, hasn't he? And Don Lemon. Yeah, he's lost his job, hasn't he? There was somebody else who'd lost his job too. I wish a couple of people would lose their jobs in the British establishment, but they seem to be hanging on quite well. So, yeah, there's always a flip side, isn't there? Right, where was I? Oh, yeah, I was on Jupiter. And worthwhile people, have been working on the James Webb project in NASA, in science institutes all over the world, actually. It's not just an American achievement. The knowledge, the background, the groundwork, all of this sort of stuff is from all over the world. Little bits of knowledge that have collated into one great, big, fantastic telescope project. But you see what I mean? It's those little bits of knowledge that have contributed and help to build the edifice, which is modern science. And here we have the results. So, as I said, little fish like me and great big leviathans like Peterson, we are all contributing to the salvation of our society, and we should celebrate when we find wonderful things like this. And there are many of them. It's just not, it's actually not profitable to talk about it. People don't tune in to YouTube to hear some old biddy talking about how wonderful the world is. You want to hear disasters. That's what gets the clicks. Well, I'm going to give you a disaster too, by the way, but that was only because it struck me very forcibly this morning. I just want you to remember, it's worth plugging ahead. There are so many people who are saying, oh, I'm very old, I'm glad I'm going to be out of it soon. No. It's wonderful to see what happens next. Just think of Jupiter. Think long term. Right, well, let's just have a look at this. Giant storms, powerful winds, auroras and extreme temperature and pressure conditions. Jupiter has a lot going on. Now NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has captured new images of the planet. And this is apart from the wonderful images that James Webb has brought to our eyes and our scientific understanding of distant galaxies. We're looking further and further back into time. It's absolutely amazing. Here, planetary astronomer Imke de Pater, Professor Emerita of the University of California, Berkeley. De Pater led the observations of Jupiter with Thierry Fouché, professor at the Paris Observatory. This is what I was saying about people from all over the world contributing to this as part of an international collaboration for Webb's early release science program. Okay, I'm going to stop with the James Webb there. I just want you to keep thinking of this wonderful, amazing, majestic image of Jupiter, which no human being throughout the entire history, nobody has ever seen that image. Just think of that. Think how privileged we are to be living in this time. And there will be many more images to see of this type. Now, let's go to the bad news. And I just want to... Oh, well, no, we'll do the irony first, should we? Here we go. It's an article in India Today, but it's in other outlets as well. And it says here, ancient Buddha statue discovered in Pak, which is obviously the Indian standard short form for Pakistan, which is a long word and difficult for headlines. If we said that in Britain in any way, I mean, obviously I'm quoting this here, but if I used that word as a description of people from that part of the subcontinent, I would have a policeman knocking on my door in no time at all. Oh, that reminds me. Hang on a minute. I'm going to add something else here. All right, roll it. That was at the Lincolnshire Pride Festival quite recently. I'm sure you're all happy to know that when the police are not knocking on people's doors and telling them to check their thinking, they're dancing in the streets. Macarena, I believe. So there you are, right? Now, if anybody thinks that the police dancing the Macarena in a Pride Festival, which demeans them, by the way, not the Pride Festival, the dancing. They're there to be looking after the law, not jumping about like loons. So they are dancing and they think that makes them look all user-friendly. But everybody knows about the knocking on the door. We know you're not user-friendly, plod old boy. All right, so anyway, if I'd have said that word just as a description of somebody here in, like Rotherham or Rochdale or Oldham or Telford or Oxford, no. Right, let's carry on. I would have the people knocking on the door. Right, anyway, ancient Buddha statue discovered in irony. All right, and then the next bit. Destroyed by construction workers for being un-Islamic. And here they videoed themselves. Oh boy, they were proud of themselves. And here they are. You see that guy with a hammer smashing up a statue which carbon dating has shown to be 1,700 years old or more. An ancient Buddha statue which was found in Pakistan's Takht Bahi area in Mardan district in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, while digging the foundation of a house, was vandalised by local construction workers on Saturday as they considered the relic to be un-Islamic. Workers who were digging the foundation of a house discovered the ancient relic said to be from Gandhara civilization, calling the idol un-Islamic. The men smashed the statue into pieces. A video of the incident that has gone viral on social media shows the construction workers destroying the idol using a sledgehammer and expressing their resentment towards it. All these people can do is destroy. Just before I was talking about teams of people who are creating, who spend their lives creating. And here we have a bunch of vandals. Well, vandals. So that's not new either, is it? So the director, the Abdul Samad, director, Archaeology and Museums, said we've located the area and we will have those involved arrested soon. And then they said they'd arrested 4 people. Well, yeah, that's a little late, isn't it? The idea is you destroy everything that went before. So the world started with Muhammad. Everything started with Muhammad, and before that there was nothing, no culture, no time, no reference, because that's the only way that these people understand Islam. Now, as I keep saying, there are a couple of branches of Islam that are very, well, you know, I'd say civilized. They know how to integrate into societies where they are minorities. And they don't make any trouble, the Ahmadis and the Ismailis. But the two most, I was going to use a bad word there, well, fiery branches of Islam. The two most aggressive are, they're doing what the most aggressive groups do. They're taking over, and they've of course given Islam a bad name, and there's nothing that would give Islam as bad a name as the video of this terrible desecration. And that makes me very sad. And if I'd have just seen that this morning, I'd have been in a terrible mood. But then I've got Jupiter here. And that's lifting my heart a great deal. Okay, well, that's it. I am Granniopteryx. I am to be found on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. If you're already subscribed, just check that your subscription is still going and you're getting notifications. If you want to make sure of notifications, Twitter, Gab and Parler, where I am at Granniopteryx. Subscribe to me there and you'll always get announcements. That's it, yeah. And also, please support my channel if you can. Buy me a coffee or any of the other methods detailed in the description below. Right, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.